Hello.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good.
Are you a Muslim?
Yo, convert. I think we talked before.
We might have.
Yeah, I think we talked before. Just want to see what your background was about.
Yeah. So right now the you're the actually the first one to actually address the background. We're basically seeing who are the true Christians according to Allah's support. Because the Quran says that Allah helped the true Christians. He helped the believers over the false believers, right? Right, hey, hey?
Yo, I'm sorry. Say it again.
Yeah, so right now we're looking at the claims of the Quran because the Quran says that the true followers of Jesus were aided by Allah once Jesus was taken up. And so those whom Allah helped are the true believers. So that's what we're looking at, right?
Hey, Black Dog, can you give me like 2 minutes? 2 minutes?
Uh sure.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Give me 2 minutes. I'm gonna still be on. I gotta get off the app real quick. 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Man, it's like 12:30 over here. Damn, y'all are busy tonight. Yeah, Ruben, you're exactly right. If you guys are coming up, you gotta be ready to talk.
My bad, Black Dog. Matter of fact, I had a client just reach out to me. Let me just hit him back real quick because we got to make this money too. You know what I mean?
Hey, don't I don't blame you.
Yeah, gotta pay that rent, man. Gotta pay that rent.
What you say? Always gotta get that money. So how y'all doing today? Well, tonight. You know what? I don't know if I have any mods in here. I don't think I do. Not right now. Bless you, Miss Banku. Let me let me see. Brother, how do you get good at apologetics? Practice. Oh, just a good bit of practice. Get with someone who is already an apologist. Thank you, Brother Eric, for the galaxy. I really do appreciate that. Um, I know this is probably late, but I did want to let you guys know that I'm building funds so that my fiance, then wife, by the time we actually go, can comfortably go to London on a mission trip. It's required for school, and so I'm raising up funds so I can make sure that I go there comfortably. So if you guys, if I blessed your ministry, um, then please consider donating and doing what you can. Of course, every little bit helps. Um,
Yeah, I'm back.
oh, good. Hey, hey. But yeah, like we were saying, uh, we're looking at what the Quran says, and the Quran says that Allah aided the true followers of Jesus, the true believers in Jesus, over the disbelievers after Jesus ascended. Right?
Say that again.
So the Quran says that Allah helped the followers of Jesus, the believers, over those who disbelieved when Jesus was taken up. Right?
Yeah, you understand what that means, though, right?
Well, well, if I misunderstand it, then can you tell me the what you think is the proper understanding according to the Quranic text?
Yeah, I can give you an explanation. So, at that time, the humanity at that time, their prophet was Jesus. So just like our
Hmm.
time, our prophet is Muhammad, so we follow Muhammad because he's our prophet. You know what I mean? So at that
Hmm.
time, Jesus was their prophet. So they were the Muslims at that time.
Right. So what did the true Muslims at that time believe historically?
They believed there was one God and Jesus was the prophet sent at that time
How do you know that?
because the Quran make that clear.
Well, the Quran is the one making the claim. How can you make sure that what the Quran is saying is true, like historically? As someone who doesn't believe in the Quran, I understand the Quran is making the claim, but claims are backed up by evidence. So what is
Oh
the
yeah.
evidence? So do you have any evidence of what the followers of Jesus between the coming of Muhammad and after the ascension of Jesus, what they said, what they believed, and what they taught?
Yeah, so I could get you want me to could I explain that to you?
I would like evidence.
I mean, evidence as far as God is kind of a slippery slope because ain't none of us seen God.
Well, I'm not specifically asking about the existence of God. I'm specifically asking about what the followers of Jesus said and did and taught.
And I ain't, but here's the
Those
thing,
guys are
Black Dot.
historical people, right?
Here's the thing, Black Dot. I ain't concerned about the people who was with Jesus. I'm concerned about God, right?
Well,
So as
well,
far as how
well,
I
well.
came, hold on, let me explain it. So as
Well, I
far
mean,
as,
I get what you're saying, hey, hey, and I
but I
understand
ain't
that
even
you don't
saying anything though.
necessarily, I understand that you don't necessarily care about the people, but the problem is that's the title of the room.
It's only a problem because you're making it a problem though. I even get a chance to explain anything yet.
Well, go ahead, hey, hey. I apologize.
No, no, you good. I mean, look, like I said, man. I mean, I'll be talking to a lot of my Christian. I mean, you know what I'm saying. A lot of my family's still Christian. We always had these talks. I mean, at the end of the day, we could still be brothers without agreeing on our beliefs. I mean, your belief, you gonna die with your belief. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But while we living, we might as well share our beliefs. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, but as far as the Quran, you got to look at it as a whole. The claims that the Quran make, how it got composed, right? No man wrote the Quran. The miracles in the Quran, the flow of the Quran, the fact that there are over 10 or 5, however many million people memorize the book cover to cover. The fact that I could go inside a mosque, right? Matter of fact, this happened the other day because
Hey, hey,
we were
hey,
playing.
hey, hey.
Hold
I
on,
don't want to. I
you gotta
hate
let
to
me finish.
interrupt you, dear friend, but we're off topic
It's not off
right now.
topic though. It's not
Yeah,
off topic. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it ain't
but
off topic.
hey,
Can I
hey,
explain to
hey,
you why?
hey. What does this have to do with proving that Allah helped the followers of Jesus between Jesus' ascension and before the coming of the Quran? Because right now we're not talking about the beauty of the Quran. We're talking about what happened before the Quran was sent down. Because the Quran is talking about events that happened and people who lived before the Quran was sent down, right? Hey, hey, that's what we're talking
I
about.
don't understand your question though. Like what's your question? Oh, matter of fact, I
So
want to you like
so
this.
here
What's your point?
let's so we'll walk through the question again. So I want to give you two ayats from the Quran. I want to give you two ayats from the Quran, and I want you to basically just guess what these are talking about. So what we'll first go to is Surah 3, Ayah 55, and I'll read it from Sahih International. Remember when Allah said, "O Jesus, I will indeed take you and raise you to myself, and purify you from those who disbelieve, and make those who follow you superior to those who disbelieve until the day of resurrection. Then to
Hey,
me
can
is
I
your
pause you for
return."
a quick sec?
Sure.
I'm all about. I'm an older man too, so I don't know how old you is, but you sound like a grown adult. But one thing that infuriates me is I'm all about talking religion. Like I said, I prefaced it by saying we could all disagree about why we live and we could talk about our beliefs. But the fact that so many Christian folk in this comment section is so damn disrespectful blows
Hey,
my
hey, 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 hey.
yeah.
You're talking to me. Focus,
But I
focus
know
on
I'm
me.
talking to you though. But as you being the host, I think it's your responsibility to to let your people be like, hey man, you represent Christianity. So
Hey, hey,
be
hey.
hold on, Black.
I tell them that all the time. I tell them that all the
Right,
time.
but at the
But
same
I
time
can't.
though, at the same
But I can't
but at the
control them.
same time,
Hey, 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 hey,
hey,
hey.
Black Dog, don't.
Focus on
I'm
me right now.
focusing. I'm focusing, but
Then focus on me, and focus on what the Quran is saying. Just don't look at the comments. Focus on the conversation. Okay.
if your face, if your
Let's keep this focused here.
I'm focusing, but Black Dog, if your face was on the screen, it would be a lot easier. But the fact that there's nothing really to
I
be
mean,
looking at.
my image is on the screen. Just focus on that, or just pull out the Quran. Pull out the Quran, because this is what we're looking at. You have a Quran with you, right?
Not on me at this moment, nah.
Okay, so just think about what the Quran says. Think about the ayat, and I'll read it again, because I want you to focus on what this is saying. I want you to focus on what this is saying. Okay. So it says in Surah 3, Ayah 55, when Allah said, O Jesus, indeed I will take you and raise you to myself, and purify you from those who disbelieve, and make those who follow you superior to those who believe. I will make those who follow you uppermost until to those who disbelieve until the day of resurrection. Then to me is your return, and I will judge between you concerning that in which you used to differ. So, is this ayat not saying that Allah will make those who follow Jesus when he's taken up superior over those who disbelieve, and will continue to make them superior until the day of resurrection, right?
Okay.
So this superiority goes until the day of resurrection. Let me also read one more ayat for you. Let's read one more ayat.
Well, what's your point behind that though?
We'll get there. We'll get there. We just need to read the second one. So this one is Surah Al-Saf, ayat 14. Surah 61, ayat 14. And it says, O you who have believed, be supporters of Allah, as when Jesus, the son of Mary, said to the disciples, who are my supporters for Allah? The disciples said, we are supporters of Allah. And a faction of the children of Israel believed, and a faction disbelieved. So we supported those who believed against their enemies, and they became dominant. They became uppermost. So what I'm asking is, what was that group? What did they believe, and what did they teach? If they were dominant and they were uppermost, we would know what they taught and know what they believed, because they would always be dominant, like Allah said, until the day of resurrection. Does that make sense? Hey, hey.
You gotta go a little slower than that.
Cool. So let's try this again, just a little bit slower. Allah says that the followers of Jesus, when Jesus is taken up, will be victorious and uppermost and great until the day that Jesus comes back.
Agree, 100%.
If those people are uppermost, then we should know historically what they taught and what they believed, because they could
Brother, make your
never
point, man. You going that's a little too slow now. Make your point.
be, and we should know what they taught and what they believed, because they could never be stomped out by disbelievers, right?
100%.
Their message could not be corrupted.
I mean, you adding on to that, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm just thinking if they're uppermost, then their message can't be corrupted by disbelievers, right?
When you
They
say
would
uppermost,
always be uppermost.
when you say uppermost, do you mean like the majority?
Yeah, it says dominant. That's what it means.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
It's the dominant religion.
right, yeah.
So
Until the day of judgment, right?
right. So
Yeah.
so from the time of Jesus until the day that Jesus comes back, the followers of Jesus are always dominant.
And
Their
who are the
message
followers of
can't
Jesus?
be their message can't be corrupted. It's always dominant. So, if that's the case, from the time of Jesus, what did the followers of Jesus believe historically? That's what I'm asking.
That
That's the
Jesus won't
question that
God.
I'm asking.
That Jesus
Hmm?
won't God.
How do you know that? Can you prove that to us historically?
I don't know how to prove it to you historically, just like you can't prove it to me historically.
Actually, I can.
No, you can't. I'm gonna go ahead and set your
Actually, I
time.
can.
You can't though.
Because hold on. Because we have traditions and documents from that time forward about what the disciples believed and what the disciples taught.
It's all hearsay though. You don't have the exact words of the disciple.
Actually, we do,
No, you
because
don't, man.
those traditions
That's what you
are
think.
because those traditions are passed down through apostolic succession. It is, I would argue, even greater than an Isnot chain because we have literal hand to hand passing down of what was said and what was done. Let me give you a few examples, dear friend. What we can do, what we can do is go three months, within 3 months of when Jesus was taken up. And we can see what the earliest followers of Jesus believed, right?
No, we
So
can't.
what we're going to do
Well,
is
hold
we're
on,
going
Black.
to look.
Hold on, real quick.
Yeah.
Is this gonna be a conversation or just gonna you be preaching, man?
Well,
Cause
you
like honest to God, man, I came up for a conversation, like a dialogue.
you said that you didn't have any evidence, and I said that I do. So I'm going to give you some of the evidence. I'm going to give
But
you
that's what
some
I'm
of the
saying.
evidence.
I don't take the evidence because from my understanding, when I ain't come to Islam like in a blink of an eye. You know what I mean? I did my reason, like my due diligence before I came to Islam. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't nothing like, oh, somebody said a sentence or a tool or gave me a spiel and then boom, I became Muslim. You know what I mean?
I know, but I want you to meditate on this sort of stuff because you said I don't have any evidence.
But you
We
don't have
Christians
evidence
do.
because
We Christians do. What we
from what I
Christians do,
understand, from what I
and I
understand.
wanna and I
Hold
wanna
on,
show
Black
you.
Dog. Every time I talk, you want to be the dominant one, man.
Well, I mean, I let you get your piece out. Aren't you gonna let me get some of mine too?
But here, the thing is, I don't want you to waste your time, is because from my
Oh,
understanding,
I mean, I'm not gonna waste my time. It's my life.
right? But as far
Don't
as you
worry,
explaining
brother.
something,
Don't worry.
as far as you explaining something, and that's why I want you to. I want you before you go into explaining, maybe explain this part to me, because this is my understanding of this so-called evidence, right? It's all
We haven't
hearsay.
even seen the evidence yet.
Right, but before that's what I'm trying to tell you. I just be patient with me, man. So before you show me the evidence, explain to me why it is a reliable evidence. Because from my
I
understanding, the evidence is all hearsay.
because I already told you beforehand. This has been passed down from generation to generation through tactile, hands-on succession. This is why, and we can even look at it from historian perspectives. Those who aren't Christians can attest that these things
Hey,
are
hold on, Black
early
Dog.
and front.
The comment section said Islam gay. The only gay religion is Christianity.
Hold on,
Y'all
hold
got
on.
LGBTQ pastors.
Hold on.
We don't take no LGBTQ bullshit.
Hold
Go ahead, Black
on,
Dog.
friend. Hey. Focus, friend.
Yeah, I'm focused, but I ain't gonna let nobody
Yeah,
disrespect
yeah,
Islam
I know
talking
that.
about gay.
Here, hold on. I got it. I took care of it. It's okay. It's
Appreciate you.
okay. Don't let the trolls. bother you, Fred. Just
Nah, I'm gonna
focus on
stomp on
me.
every troll I see,
Hey,
man.
hey, 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 hey. Focus on me. Focus on me.
Got
We're
you, bro.
right
Got you.
here. We're at the point where we're looking at the evidence. We're looking at the reason why the evidence is reliable. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, here, if you want, you can swipe to the left. You can swipe your screen to the left,
Nah, I'm gonna pay
and
attention to all of them.
it can get rid of the comments for it.
You can
If
turn
that'll
off your
help.
comments if you want, though. If you want to really be genuine, turn off your comments. You got disrespectful Christians up here.
Hey, 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 just focus on me, man. Just
I'm
focus on me.
focused on you, bro. You a cool dude, bro.
So we'll look here. So we'll look here.
All right.
Here's the evidence. Even historians who aren't religious at all can look at the evidence and look at the tracing back of these traditions, of these facts, of these words, and say that this is reliable, that this is reliable. Historians look at these things and say that this is reliable. So, one of the things that I'm going to show you is within 3 months of Jesus' ascension, within 3 months, even before the conversion of the Apostle Paul. Hey, hey. So you'll probably like this one. You'll really like this one.
I gotta ask a question.
Sure.
So when you say within 3 months, not the time of, like not when they were on Earth, after, but within 3 months after.
No, within 3 months of Jesus being taken up, his disciples were making these creeds. They were making these traditions, right? So like I
Okay, but
said,
here's the
the
question. The question is, do you have that evidence that traces all the way back to them people at that time?
yes, yes, this is what we're saying. This is what we're saying. We can pinpoint when they were writing, when this was in existence. And this thing that I'm about to show you is written by the apostles, is traced down to them within 3 months of Jesus being taken from the earth. Right? So
Okay.
this is it. This is it. So it says that Christ died for our sins in accordance to the scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he was raised on the third day in accordance to the scriptures, and that he was seen by Cephas, Peter, and then to the 12. And after that, he was seen by over 500 brethren at once, of whom the greater part remain to the present, but some have fallen asleep. After this, he was seen by James and all the apostles. That's the tradition. So, how do we know that this is early? According to the academic consensus among Christians and even the most skeptical atheistic scholars, we see this as their view on this dating. Atheist New Testament professor Gerrit Ludemann says the elements in the tradition are to be dated to the first 2 years after the crucifixion of Jesus, no later than 3 years. The formation of the appearance traditions mentioned in this passage falls into the time between 30 and 33 CE, so within the time of Jesus being taken up. And that's Gerd Luderman. Gerd Luderman. Gerdludemann. Gerd Ludemann.
See?
And he is a atheist New Testament professor. So he's
Hold
an
on, hold on, hold
atheist.
on. Can you spell it one more time?
Uh-huh. Gerdludemann. Gerd Ludemann. Then
He
we
was
see,
a German biblical scholar.
yes,
All right.
and he's an atheist. We also have Robert Funk. Robert Funk, who is a non-Christian scholar. He's not a Christian. He doesn't believe in a personal God, and he is the founder of what they call the Jesus Seminar, where they basically took the New Testament or took the Gospels and said, well, we believe Jesus said this, we don't believe Jesus said this, yada, 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 and things like that. But when he says here, he says, the conviction that Jesus had risen from the dead had so already taken root by the time that Paul was converted about 33 AD, on the assumption that Jesus died about 30 CE. The time for development was 2 to 3 years at most. So, at most, Robert Funk says that this creed is within 2 to 3 years of Jesus being taken up.
Bro,
James,
I got a
hmm,
question
sure,
because so I'm still stuck on Gur Ludeman.
hmm,
Why he an atheist?
because he doesn't believe in a personal God. That's his thing.
So
But
all his
what I'm trying to show you is that even people who don't believe in God can still look at the evidence and say, hey, this is real, this is verifiable, and we can trace it to this close to Jesus. We can trace it this close.
but then
The why they're an
who would care
atheist,
about his word though?
huh?
Like my what I'm trying to understand
Because
is
because
why.
people
Hold
because
on, let me
he
ask the question, Black Dog. Hold on.
yeah, I'm sorry, I thought you had already asked it.
No, I'm saying like why you putting so much in back in my Christian days I used to say it ain't gospel, right? So why you holding atheist research like it's gospel though? You know what I mean?
I'm not. What I'm saying is, and like I said before, what I'm saying is that whether or not you believe in a personal God, facts is facts. So whether or not, like even enemies of the gospel can look at the facts and say, yeah, this is true, this is real, we can verify this. Their
What's he saying that's
beliefs,
real though?
huh?
What's being said that's real?
What's being said is these passages about what the apostles believed and taught, these words that Jesus died for our sins, that he was buried, and that he rose from the dead, and it's according to the Old Testament scriptures, this traces back to the apostles even before the conversion of Paul. There's one more passage, there's one more source that I want to get us at. And these are coming from the enemies of the gospel. The last one that I'm going to look at is James D.G. Dunn. He is an atheist professor at Durham. He says, there is no reason to doubt that this information was given to the Apostle Paul as part of his introductory catechesis. So Paul didn't make it up, it was given to him. He would have needed to be informed of precedents in order to make sense of what had happened to him. When he says, I handed on to you as of first importance what I also received, he does not imply that the tradition became important to him at a subsequent date. Instead, he indicates that the importance of this tradition to himself was from the start,
Hey, Black Dog,
which
can I
is
pause you
why,
for a sec?
sure,
First and foremost, I'm gonna let you continue, but first and foremost, man, I appreciate you giving me this education. Two, I appreciate how respectful you is, and three, you could convince me all you want, but I'll never join your team. And I'll tell you why. I will never join a group of people like the people in your comment section. Like this one dude commented 3 times, Muhammad, peace be upon him. I will never join a group of people that's so hateful. But I appreciate you. I'll listen to you. I'll hear you out. I'll look into it. But I will never join a group of people that
my
disrespect a group of people because of their belief. For example, Black Dog, I would never disrespect you because you believe in something. You feel what I'm
my
saying?
guy, my guy, they're trying to get a rise out of you.
Right, but at the
They,
end of the
and
day, at the end of the day,
most of
Black
these
Dog,
people
at the end of the day,
most
Black
of these
Dog,
people aren't even
they represent your sect. That's
most
the
of these
difference.
people probably aren't even Christians, my guy. We get a lot of these trolls all the time. What did I say earlier? Focus on me. Focus on me right now. We don't even need to get into what the Quran says. We don't need to get
But you want to know
into
why I'm
anything
trying
else.
to comment?
Well,
Because
we
let me
hold
give you an
on,
example, Black Dot. Hold on,
hold
hold on, hold on.
on.
This is a serious question. Let's say you convince me, because you sound convincing, right? I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say this is your night, right? You sound really convincing. Let's just say something in me happens and I get convinced. I don't only look at just what you're saying. I'm looking what the people in this religion saying. And if they don't have the decency of respect, it negates all the hard work you're doing. That's my point.
So I think that's a problem though. Before then, are here and sure, I'll just for the sake of getting through this conversation, we'll get the comments off because this is I'm actually getting rather tired of this. So I was going to ask, what do you join a religion for? Do you join a religion because of the people or because of the truth?
To be honest with you, a little bit of both.
I think that's a problem
I don't think so.
because when it comes to truth, people are sinners and people can fail. But you don't go to a religion because of people. You go to a religion because it is the truth and because it is where God has ordained the truth to be.
But I will beg to differ though.
Don't get me wrong here. Some people are powerful. However, people are sinners and people will fail. This is why they need God. So who do you put your trust in? Do you put your trust in God or do you put your trust in people?
It's not so much that I put my trust in people. It's the fact that because I know a lot of Christian friends, and you know what I'm saying. At the end of the day, you probably know a lot of Christians too that had traumatic experiences growing up in the church. So at the end of the day, them people could have the power to take you away from quote unquote God or get you near quote unquote God. And from my experience so far in my short term of being a Muslim, it's been nothing but hospitality, respect, dignity, and just welcoming. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's called love jihad. That's what they're supposed to do.
But even when they talk about,
And even the Quran says, you know, to smile at you in person, but on the inside hate you in your heart. But that's neither here nor there. What the point is that we join religions and we stay in religions because the religion is true and the religion is factual. If people are able to take you out of a religion, then your faith is not in God, it was in people. But that aside, I want you to keep that in your mind. Let your faith be in God and not in people. And let's get back to the evidence. Because James D.G. Dunn is saying that this comes before the Apostle Paul, that it was handed to him by the disciples, and it says, quote, this tradition we can be entirely confident was formulated within months of Jesus's death. Within months. So the believers couldn't even get a year outside of speaking about what they believed and what they witnessed and what they saw. And according to even the enemies of Christianity, what did the followers of Jesus believe? That it was crucified, that he was buried,
but not
and that he
all of them
rose
though.
from the dead. Right?
But not all of them.
What do you mean, not all of them?
Well, obviously not all of them, right?
What do you mean, obviously, not
Like,
all of them? Do
are
you
you?
have any?
Is the claim you making all the people at that time believe that Jesus was crucified?
All the followers of Jesus? Yes.
What do you mean by followers?
As the Quran says, the
Followers is
followers of
in
Jesus, the
disciples or just the people?
believers. Huh?
When you say followers, are you talking about the disciples or just like the people in general at that time?
The disciples. This
Oh,
is the
okay, okay.
tradi-
If you're talking about
this
the
is the
disciples,
tra-
okay.
yeah, this is the tradition of the disciples, whom God made uppermost. This is what they believed. We can even go even further because we have documents that tell us of the tradition and instructions that the disciples gave to the churches in what is called the Didache. The Didache literally means teaching, and it's short for the teaching of the 12 apostles. It's written before the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD. And this is what it says about the instruction of baptism. It says, "But concerning baptism, in this way shall you baptize. Having first taught all these things, baptize in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, in running water. But if you have not living water, then baptize in other water. And if you're not able in warm, or in cold, then in warm. But if you have neither, then pour water on the head 3 times, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit."
Who came up with that?
The apostles. And where do you think the apostles got it from?
How do you trace that back to the apostles, though?
This is literally called the teaching of the apostles. And historians
Right,
trace
but
this
you
back to
confirm.
huh?
Could you confirm it came from the apostles? Is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Yes, like I said, historians confirm that this even goes before 70 AD, the fall of Jerusalem, because this document is actually from Jerusalem to the Gentiles, to the Gentile churches. This goes from the Jerusalem church to the other churches. And you remember who was the bishop of the Jerusalem church during this time? The answer is James, the brother of Jesus.
See, that's where you're gonna have me have a million questions now.
But here,
That's
focus
where you
focus on
lost
what
me.
it says. Focus on what it says. It
Now
says,
I'm focused, but that's you just lost me on this part though.
what do you mean? This means that it comes from the disciples of Jesus in Jerusalem teaching the other Gentiles what the apostles taught and what they received from Christ. And it
Right.
says
That
here,
ain't what I have an issue with though, Black Dog. You said James, right?
mm-hmm,
Which is the brother of Jesus.
mm-hmm.
That's the part I have an issue with.
So we can talk about that. We can talk about that after we deal with this because we're trying to stay on target here, right?
I'm having a hard time staying on target though because that one threw me off.
Oh, heavens. Okay, this will probably be the last diversion we get. But why do you think that this? Why is apparently James being the brother of Jesus a problem?
Because you saying God has a brother now.
So your problem is not necessarily about It's not necessarily about Jesus or James himself. It's specifically saying that God enters into human nature, and apparently the reason why James is called the brother of Jesus is because Jesus was virgin born, right?
Yeah.
And James is the son of Mary. After Jesus was born, or Joseph had a child from a, Jesus had a child from a previous Joseph had a child from a previous marriage.
We don't know
And
which one it is.
so, huh?
Do we not know which one it is?
The second one is the historical interpretation.
So from a previous
The
marriage.
Yes. So Joseph had a son from a previous marriage. And so when Joseph and Mary get together, the son from a previous marriage becomes the adopted son of whom?
The woman.
Of Mary, and therefore becomes the adoptive brother of whom?
Of the kid she already had.
And she only had one kid, who is whom?
Jesus, right? Yeah.
Right. So it's not saying anything different from how we would say if we had an adopted brother. That's the only thing. That's just simply that. So, does that so here, let's focus on what this says. Let's focus on what this says. The apostles are telling the people, it's going through all the churches. They're telling all the churches to baptize in what name?
The three gods.
In one God, but three persons. So
Yeah.
they're talk so the apostles are teaching to baptize in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. So the apostles are teaching the Trinity. So as we saw, we haven't even gotten to the destruction of Jerusalem yet in 70 AD, but here we already have the apostles telling us about the death, the resurrection, the deity of Christ, and the doctrine of the Trinity. This is what the apostles taught. And this all comes from Jerusalem. You can't blame Paul for this, even if you wanted to. All the other apostles are saying all these things. And Allah says that Allah helped these guys be victorious until the day of resurrection. So let's even look at this historically. Historically, who has been the uppermost and who has been the biggest religion in history? Historically, from the time that Jesus was taken up, what has been the dominant religion?
As of now, Christianity.
Right. And even in the advent of Islam, what has still been the dominant religion? What has still been the biggest religion?
I mean, like I said, Christianity, but not for long though.
Right. Right. So Allah has been keeping his promise that he's been helping the true followers of Jesus against the disbelievers
But see,
until the day
Black
of
Dog,
resurrection.
Black Dog, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. Because what would be your rebuttal imagine right now, fast forward, we having this conversation in 2040 when Islam is the dominant religion.
Well, if Islam is the dominant religion, then apparently Allah has failed because Allah has been making for the past 2,000 years, as he promised the believers of Jesus, victorious until the day of resurrection.
But
And
Muslims
what has
believe in
the
Jesus.
and so as you just admitted,
But
and as you just
hold
saw,
on. I gotta pause you there because you that was an incorrect statement because if
what you
Islam is the
mean?
dominant religion, then God would still be upholding His promise because Muslims believe in Jesus.
No, they don't. Not specifically in the Jesus that the disciples were proclaiming,
Ah,
as we saw.
see,
So
that's what.
here,
See, now
so here,
you being
remember
subjective though.
what we saw earlier. What did the disciples teach? As we saw earlier from the evidence, what did the disciples teach?
To be fair, man, you said they taught the whole resurrection,
And we saw that they did. The evidence shows us that
but
they
I'm
did.
just taking your
They
word. I
taught,
ain't do my research yet.
but still,
Like for the
the
sake of
evidence is
argument, I
still
can say
the
that.
the
Yeah.
so the evidence is still here that they taught the death, burial, resurrection, and the Trinity. So in all of these things, and these are contrary to what Islam teaches, right? Right?
Right. Yeah.
So Allah has been aiding the people who believe like this for the past 2,000 years. According to Surah 3 and Surah 61, Allah has been doing this. Allah takes the credit for making this the dominant religion. And
I
those,
wouldn't agree with that.
those, according to the Quran, would be the disbelievers.
I
So
wouldn't
here,
agree
let
with
me,
that
if you,
though. I would
so
say, I
here,
would say,
if you disagree, let me ask you this question: do those who believe in the death, burial, resurrection of Jesus and in the Trinity, are they believers or disbelievers?
there would be disbelievers in my paradigm. There will be disbelievers.
Right. But if this is the case, according to you, then the disbelievers have been uppermost for 2,000 years. So if
But see,
that's
that's the
the
mistake.
case,
But hold on, Black Dog. Look, I like that. I
mm-hmm,
like that. That's a good point, right? But nowhere
mm.
in that context did God specify the time frame. If He said if God specified, hey, for 2,000 years it's gonna be dominant, then there's an issue. Because then I would
Oh,
literally
but
be
he
putting,
did.
but I would literally be telling you, hey, there's a red flag on Islam. But no way
Hey, hey,
God, the
hey,
only hold on, Black Dog. The only time frame that God put was until Jesus returned.
until the day of resurrection. So they are uppermost until the day of resurrection.
And
He
what do we
gave us
know
a time.
based on
He
projections? What do we know who's going to be the dominant religion?
hold on. Hey, hey. He did give us a time frame, and the believers are to be uppermost until the day of resurrection. They should always be uppermost.
Read the verse. Read the verse again.
But as you said,
Wait,
but
hold on,
if
Black Dog. Read the verse again.
so, I'll read it again. Surah 355. Surah 355. And I will make those who follow you superior to those who disbelieve until the day of resurrection.
Exactly. Until the day of resurrection.
Right, so these will be superior. The true followers will be superior over those who disbelieve until the day of resurrection. So they'll always be uppermost.
Why are
However,
you forcing that onto the text? They never say
no,
always though.
that's literally what it said.
It ain't
So
literally what
so
they say though.
so here, how long is it from the time of Jesus, when Jesus was taken up, until the day of resurrection?
We don't know when the day of resurrection is.
But since then, to our perspective, the believer should always be uppermost because the
Why
day
do
of
you force it
resurrection has a.
always though, Black?
Hold on, hey, hey. We're reasoning together, please.
I'm trying to
So,
reason with you, but
so,
you forced the word always in there, man.
if you were here, how about this? Since there is, since the believers are supposed to be uppermost against the disbelievers until the day of resurrection, right?
Right.
So, should there be a time in which the disbelievers are uppermost over the believers, according to the Quran?
Say that question one more time.
If Allah promises to make the true believers superior until the day of resurrection, should there be a time before the day of resurrection where the disbelievers are superior to the believers?
That's not a question for me to answer, though. That's none of my business.
The answer
No, you can't
would
tell me the
be
answer. There ain't no answer to it,
the
Black Dot.
answer here, but there is,
There
because
ain't
the
though.
answer
That's an
here,
opinion, man.
see, the answer would be no, there isn't, because if Allah is keeping His promise, He says, "I will make you superior until the day of resurrection, until the end of time."
Black Dot. I actually hold on. Let's take this step by step. Like I said, I would love to have this as a dialogue, right? I was with you, but now you
This is a dialogue. Hey,
right, right. But you see, you cut me off again. But now you reaching. This is what's called reaching, right? You forcing your own narrative onto the text.
all
If
right.
mind you,
Where's the reach?
hold on, Black
Where's
Dot.
the reach?
If God, if in that verse, God said always, I'll tell you right now how to become Christian again. Right now, no question. I wouldn't even hesitate with you. But
So what?
well, let's
Here,
say this.
here,
Let's
hey,
say this.
hey,
Hold on, Black Dot. Let me finish my statement.
here.
Let me finish. Hold on. Let's say the day of resurrection don't happen until another 1,000, 2,000 years. We don't know, right? Only God knows the day of resurrection, right? So if for the next 2,000 years Islam is going to be the dominant religion, what's going to be your argument?
So here again, if you believe that the belief in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus and the belief in the Trinity is disbelief, then Allah let the disbelievers be the dominant religion for 2,000 years.
What's the
That's the
issue in
thing.
that though?
So if that's the issue, hey, is that is that Allah promised that the believers will be uppermost until the day of resurrection. If
Right. So
Allah,
hold on. Hear my
if
rebuttal.
Allah, if Allah has not even
Hold on,
started
BD.
to
I
keep
heard you.
his,
I heard you. BD, I heard
I,
you. Can I give you a rebuttal? If you don't
sure,
mind. If you don't mind, I'm being sincere, man. I really am. I would just love to hear your response to this.
sure, go ahead.
Okay. Hypothetically, because obviously you don't know and I don't know, right? None of us know when the day of resurrection is. I'm gonna throw a hypothetical, right? Let's just say the day of resurrection ain't until another 2,000 years. Hypothetically, right? Because obviously we don't know, right? But just for the sake of this argument, let's say the day of resurrection don't happen until 2,000 years from now. And Islam been the dominant religion for 2,000 years. What's
You've
your argument
already
on that?
asked this question. You've already
But you ain't
asked this
answer
question.
it,
Hey,
fam.
hey. I literally just did.
What's your answer?
The problem is that you said that Allah. If you had actually let me finish what I was saying, you would have gotten the full answer.
Because
So
you
like
ain't
I said,
answer it, though.
so like I said earlier, so I'm telling you the full answer, friend, just so you can understand it. Just so you can understand it. The Quran says that the followers of Jesus, the
I
true
heard you.
believers, will be superior to the day of resurrection. But as we just saw, since Jesus ascended, even past the advent of Islam,
Um,
what you believe what you believe is disbelief
BD,
has been dominant. And
BD.
so if it changes, then according to you, finally Allah is keeping his promise.
No, no, no. See, that's why I disagree
If
with you
that's
on.
the case, then
That ain't what I agree
then
with you on, though.
then
Here's the
Allah
thing,
is
BD.
not then Allah has not been keeping his
But
promise
BD,
for
that's
the
what I'm
past
trying to tell
2,000
you,
years.
family. This is what I'm trying to tell you, family. When you say always, that's the part that's throwing me off because I would
I
argue.
didn't say always. I
Okay,
haven't
because
said always. In the
here's my
past
take
10
on it.
minutes.
Here's my take on it. And BD, by the way, man, I really do appreciate you, man. This is good, being a good conversation. I'm loving it. I love this back and forth right here, man. And especially the fact that we're respectful. You know what I mean? But here's my thing on this one. If for 2,000 years Islam gonna be dominant, I would argue God kept his promise. I wouldn't word it in a way that, oh, he didn't always keep his promise, because God never said it was always gonna be dominant.
So hey.
Yeah, go ahead.
What happened to the first 2,000 years according to you when disbelief was dominant? Did Allah keep his promise?
The promise won't complete. That's it. It ain't. If I tell you this, I'm gonna pay you back $1,000, $1,000,000 in 5,000 years, and it's only 2,000 years in, and I only paid you 200,000. Are you gonna say I didn't keep my promise? No, because I'll be like, hey, I still ain't reached my limit yet. So in this case, God's limit is the day of resurrection, and that ain't have happened. If the day of resurrection happened, I'll say yes, sir, BD. God didn't keep his promise. You see where I'm going at with that? If you give me a
Hey,
time frame to pay you back $1,000,000, and you tell me, let's say I have 5,000 years to pay you back $1,000,000, but 2,000 years in, you say, hey, you ain't paying me back. You ain't keep your promise. I would tell you, you ain't got no right to tell me I ain't keep my promise because I got 5,000 years to fulfill my promise. So who you to tell God that he didn't fulfill his promise when the deadline ain't happened yet?
you made the wrong analogy. This isn't a promise to pay back alone. This is for the
How do you
example
get
of
that out of that
somebody saying,
example?
so, no, no, the example is, I promise you to give you $1 million until the end of the world. That means from the time that I make that promise, every day I give you $1 million until the end of the
You
world.
see, now you flipping it though, BD. You try to make it
That's
fit
what
your
it.
narrative, fam.
No, no, no. It's not. That's literally what the text
Look,
says.
fam,
That's
BD,
literally what the text says.
BD. I'm a.
So
Can
here,
we? Can we?
do we need to do we here do we want to go to the tafsir?
No, BD.
Do
Can I tell
you
you this? Can I tell you this?
since we have a disagreement?
No, BD. I was gonna say this. You don't even got to go there. I was gonna just say this. I was gonna say, look, I heard your example. I see where you're going at, but I'm gonna have to kindly disagree. Could we move on?
No, because this is the point. This is the whole point of the conversation. So if we're disagreeing with what the with the meaning of what the Quran says, which should have
Turn
happened
your comments
at
on.
the
Let's see what everybody said. Let's see what everybody
it
said.
sure because
Yeah, let's see what the
it
audience said.
because at the beginning you didn't disagree. You didn't disagree at all.
The only thing I disagree
So
with you on is the always part, right?
we'll just look. We'll just look. This is what
I ain't trying to give you
let's
a hard
see.
time, by the way, BD.
hmm this is what Ibn Kathir says. Let's see.
Look, man, if I'm stressing you out, man, just let me know.
hmm So here's what it says. I will take you in reference to sleep. I'll purify you by raising you to heaven.
But
Here
BD,
we
by the
go.
way, do you see where I'm coming from though? Like, could you at least acknowledge like you see where I'm coming from?
I understand the analogy you're trying to make, but it's not found within the text at all. It would be completely twisting what the text says and not actually dealing with the proper words for the text. So here's what Ibn Kathir says. Here's what Ibn Kathir says. His death refers to Isa, and the ayah means that the people of the book will believe in Isa. This will occur when Isa comes back to this world before the day of resurrection, as we will explain. By that time, all the people of the book will believe in Isa, for he will annul the jizya. He will only accept Islam from people. So
Right.
he then says, and I will make those who follow you superior to those who believe until the day of resurrection. So Ibn Kathir actually goes into history. He talks about what he believes happened after Jesus ascended. When Allah raised Isa to heaven, his followers divided into sects and groups. Some of them believed in what Allah sent as Isa as the servant of Allah, his messenger, and the son of his female servant. He then goes on to talk about history. He then says, throughout this time, that is the time of Constantine, he says, throughout this time, the Christians had the upper hand and dominated the Jews. Allah aided them against the Jews because they used to be closer to the truth than the Jews.
What's wrong with that?
So Allah says, so Ibn Kathir says, number one, he makes a historic point that the keeping of this promise is from Isa's age to now, and he then points to a historical example of the Christians at Nicaea and says that Allah aided them.
Because they were closer to the
Allah
truth than the
helped,
Jews.
so Allah helped the Trinitarians.
Hold on, BD. Let's put our opinions. Because I'm gonna tell you my opinion actually before I ask you the question. I believe the Christians today are closer to God than the Jews. So let me ask you, don't you believe in that? Because the Jews don't even accept Jesus. So what's wrong with that? What's
I
the
don't,
issue
I
in that?
don't, I don't, I don't, I don't think you got the point. The point kind of went over your head.
What's the
But
point?
here,
Let me see the point you're forcing in
let
my
me
head.
state it again. Let me state it again.
No, just say your point. Say your point.
We were discussing about the meaning of the ayat. and where
Brother, I
and what I
understood the
said and what I
meaning.
said.
You trying
Oh,
to
hold
force
on.
an interpretation on me,
Oh,
man.
I'm not. I'm simply showing you that this is the interpretation of the scholars. That the
What's the issue with that
scholars,
interpretation, though, family?
but 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 family, the scholars agree with me. The scholars agree with me, fam, not you.
Can you explain that?
I'm trying to. You keep interrupting me, fam.
My fault, man.
Because like I
I
said,
thought you had finished.
no, you kept saying, what are you getting at? What are you getting at? What are you getting at? When I was telling
Because
you
you
about
said,
what I'm getting at.
but family, you said because they were closer to the truth than the Jews.
That's what Ibn Kathir says, and the point was, and the point is how is Ibn Kathir interpreting the passage? Is he saying that this doesn't appear, that this promise doesn't get fulfilled until the day of resurrection? Or is it being fulfilled until the day of resurrection? Those were the differences. You had the first interpretation, I had the second. And so we went to Ibn Kathir to see who gets the deciding vote. The Ink of the Ummah gets the deciding vote. And the deciding vote from the Ink of the Ummah was my position that Allah has been fulfilling this position, fulfilling this point until fulfilling this promise until the day of resurrection. He doesn't stop fulfilling it until then.
But what's the issue
That's
in
what
that
he's
though?
saying. What the issue is that that goes against your interpretation. It's contradictory to yours and it agrees with mine.
Family,
And
I think it's
so,
contradictory in your mind, but I don't. I'm trying to be as like unbiased as possible. I really don't see the contradiction. I'm being honest to God. I see what you're saying, but in my mind, you see it as an issue, but I don't see it as an issue.
all right,
It seems like we both
I know
agree.
you don't see it as an issue, and that's okay.
No, I'm saying it looked like
That
me and you agree though. No,
it doesn't. We do not agree. And unfortunately, I think this is as far as we can go in the conversation. So I'm probably just gonna have to have somebody else come up and have this conversation with them. Is that okay, friend?
I mean it's okay, fam. But I mean, are you upset because I ain't agree exactly the way you wanted me to? I mean,
No. I'm just we've been talking for a long time, and a few other people have been waiting. So, and the comments have been off for a while. So I think it's probably time to that we move on from the conversation. I thank you for being here because you're kind and respectful, and I appreciate you. But I think we just need to move on to another topic.
yeah, that's cool, fam. I appreciate you, man.
Grace and peace.
Yeah.